Hi, let's do a little scouting today. And I want to give you some tips and things that I use. And one thing I look for when I'm going to a place and I'm scouting, first thing I'm really looking for is on bigger blocks or something that stands out is transitions. And what I mean by transition is timber type change from one big stand to another. It'd be that transition line in between there. I'm going to show you a couple of them here today. But let me show you sort of what I'm looking at, and my sets is what I'm looking at is how I'm going to set up. Because a lot of it is how these transitions are, is how thick it is or how open it is. Because most time there's going to be a difference. That's what you're looking for, and that's why it's a transition. So let's look right here. Here's a lane goes up through here. Here's a stand. Both of them are open-grown fields. This one here, it's probably been 25 years since anything's been done to it. So we get up in here, there's going to be some bigger trees. This over here is about 10 to 15 years. So there's not really anything big enough to climb in there, but we still can hunt it. So let's go in here and let's go in this younger stand, because a lot of times we run into some good places hunting, especially in some of these river bottoms and stuff where they cleared it up and it's been in farmland over the years, but they planted it back in the hardwood or let it grow up back up in natural stand. A lot of times it's holding a lot of deer, but it's if you can find a tree in there to climb, you get up, you can't see because the canopy's still up. But let me show you, if you watch my last video I put out about my stump set, this will be a prime spot where you can use it, where I'm going to get on the other side with a little bit different age stand, and my arsenal setup, my saddle setup is probably going to be better. So let me show you the difference here. Alright, I pretty much got my stump set all in my pack right here. Everything I need for my stump set, and that means basically getting on the ground, getting low in this lower canopy, getting where I can see. So let me get right here and I start breaking my pack down and show you what I got in it. Because I got my leafy suit. Like I said, I don't have it on now, but I'm going to show you what I really like about this leafy suit and why I think it'll work for y'all too. All these things come in a little old handy bag. So you can pack it up, a packable bag. I had it in my pack. I really like how these things are designed. Like I said, you get off of work, you want to do a quick hunt, man, just keep this in your vehicle with you, because you can put it on over, because it's got zippers in the legs. I really like that. It's pretty much like a bug suit. If the mosquitoes, it's warm, you could go without a shirt and just put this thing on. Or if it's cooler, you could have 2 or 3 layers on, and this thing is steel because it's real stretchy. Like I said, it just goes on super easy. Just goes right on over the outer layer. It's got cuffs on it right here, so it fits for different arm lengths. What I like, it's got snap shawl instead of zippers here on the front. Instead of zipping and getting the zipper hung up in the 3D leaves here, you can just snap it up and put it on right quick. I'm not talking about within just a couple minutes I can put this thing on. The breeches, they just pull over. Like I said, it's got zippers in the legs. I'm gonna go ahead and unzip them, and I zip them up. I got them unzipped now. Same way, taking it off. It's just that easy to get it on now. Then I'm leaving my boots on. Just sort of work it a little bit, make sure your loops in your boot don't hang it. And just get it started right over it. And I set my zippers up, tip them down. Look at there, y'all. That's simple. That's what I really like about this thing. It goes right with mobile hunting, y'all. Oh, like I said, it's got plenty of pockets in it. Got good zipper pockets when you keep stuff in. Like I said, I keep my gloves, a lot of time my face mask and stuff in here. Well, because why I'm showing y'all this, y'all. Like I said, I'm gonna get back to my scouting, but why I'm showing you this, the Birch Hunter e-bike, we're finna give it away September the 1st. So if you buy, go to our website, doitselfhunter.com. If you buy one of these suits, you're in for the drawing. And like I said, just got to August 31st, so that's just a few days. So that's why I want to throw this in here. If you're interested in one of these suits, you buy one, you get a chance, you might be the lucky winner to win that bike. So let's get back to what I'm looking for in my scouting here. Don't take this camera, I want you look. See how it's, I can probably see 30 yards right in there. I know it's thick, I know it's super thick. And what you may have to do is bring your little clippers or something and just clip you some little lanes. But if you got up in a tree here, that tree's big enough to climb. But you couldn't see 10 yards around you. But as long as you stay on the ground right here, there's a little spot right to there. I probably can see 40 yards. And that's another thing I found me. I don't know if this is the best one I found so far, y'all. It's just a seat. I don't really like the bag because the bag is pretty loud. I make it. Why it's loud? Because it's waterproof. Well, let me clamp my camera on here. But what I like about this is it comes with a little towel. That bag's loud. I don't like that. I may just put me a couple of bungee cords to hold it up, but this thing just folds out just like that. Man, I can just back up right next to this tree right here, or just get out in the open and just sit. Like I said, I can definitely probably see 40 yards right there. What you may have to do is just find you that strategically spot that you can see just a little bit better. But one thing about like this, don't matter which wind, I can always get around to where I think, like I said, it's way thicker this way. So odds are the deer's gonna come this way. So as long as I've got a wind going this way, or this way, I'm good to go. So that's one set. And like I said, a little bit of brush, I could just sort of back up in a little bit of brush, or I could back up next to this tree right here. One thing about this leafy suit, you don't need a whole lot of cover. I get my gloves on, my face mask on, with my archery hat here, this little low profile bill, and I can just sit right here. Because if a deer comes walking up through it, just be still. Just be still and let him get to the spot where you can shoot. And this, I like a swivel seat. I know a couple of y'all guys comment and say, hey, here's a good seat, here's a good seat. I think a swivel seat's gonna be very important. Because if it don't swivel, you're going to slide. Where, like now, if a deer comes walking that way, man, I can just ease this way real easy. Boom, I can shoot. Because if I'm sitting this way, I'm finna have to slide in that chair. Where it's a lot easier. I do think a swivel chair is gonna be the thing, for me. I know there's a couple seats that folks had commented on my stump setup show. They may be alright, but this one right here is the best one I found so far, and I can see where it needs a few things that could improve this one. So here's one set. Like I said, just see how thick it is. I really think this setup right here with this leafy suit is just another tool in your toolbox. Your hunting toolbox, y'all. Even gun hunting. And you can just sit right in here, even a shotgun or something. I know some states, we can shoot buckshot. Man, if you had a big deer and something thick like this, boy, you get right in here with him and he'd come through. It'd be like shooting a turkey in here. Well, you could do it with a shotgun for sure. But I can see where you can set up with a bow. Y'all gonna see, I'm gonna try doing some of this year. So let's walk over to the other side where the stand's a little bit older and sort of show you the difference that I would probably use my arsenal stuff, like my climbing and my saddle stuff. So let's pack my stuff back up. So like I said, I got everything I need in that pack right there. I got my cameras, well, camera gear and everything. Cause that's why I'm gonna have 2 different packs. You know, mainly it's because of my family. Because this set right here, I'm gonna have a tripod and I'm gonna be sitting on the ground. And my arsenal setup, where I use my arsenal saddle stuff, I'm gonna have a camera arm that connects to the tree. So I have 2 different. That's why I want 2 different complete sets. Where all I gotta do is change make sure I got my camera, and I can just swap from one bag to the other. Especially when I go in here and find a spot and I know really what I want to hunt. But with this setup right here, if I'm going in blind, never been in there, I can always find a spot on the ground. Because I can hunt thick stuff, or I can even hunt this open stuff out here too. So let me pack this up right quick and let's go over there and look. Alright, like I said, I was just on the other side of that lane. But this right here, see, this tree right here is not over 25 years old. But you can tell how it was sort of open grown. It's just basically come out. And there's, you know, I see some perfect spots to get on the ground. Man, you got that brush right there, all this brush around these trees. So I definitely could do a ground set. But I can see if, say, these acorn dropping. I see several water oaks and willow oaks on out here, beside this one right here. If I start finding acorn sign around it, man, I can always climb. There's a forked one right back there. There's one right over there. You know, so I can use my arsenal set to climb. And it's like it opens up a little bit more down here. You can tell with these little bit bigger trees in them. But like I said, this is still this is an old field that growed up, because I can remember when you used to cut hay on this place right here years ago. Well, it was based on pecan orchard. See, there's an old pecan tree right there. It's probably, I think it was planted in the 50s. It's 75 years old, and it ain't very big. And this little old pin oak right here is 25 years old. It's way bigger. So I'm hoping I'm giving you ideas when you go into a place, what you're looking for and how you want to set up. Because the key to every set is the wind. And you don't really want where you've got a perfect wind and a deer's got the wind blowing up his tail, because that to me, that's a no-go. I want it to where, if I think the deer's coming from this way, I want the wind blowing sort of crossways, or sort of blowing right beside him just a little bit. If I can catch a little bit of a bend, tree blowed over, or like I said, this brush all that brush right there, that deer's not going to walk right in there. He's going to come around it one way or the other. So I may can get where I'm offset it. Like if he's coming this way and the wind's blowing that way, I may sort of get right over here just a little bit, because I know he's going to come right up through here with that wind. And I'm going to have it to where it's blowing just right by him. And he thinks he's got a good wind. You know, that's where we kill a lot of our big deer, is finding that perfect spot where they've got to walk around something instead of walking straight to you. They've got to come around it. Well, a lot of times that helps you get your wind to blow right by them. So I hope that's a tip that really helps you, really what you're really looking for. You know, 'cause a lot of it is, you know, Daniel's made a lot of comments before that I don't know what I'm looking for till I get in there and find it. You know, and that's a lot of what we're looking for. We're looking for some blowdown. We're looking for a creek that's got a bend in it, that they got to come around, that we can get on the side of that bend, that our scent can blow by them. Maybe a bluff, and in the mornings our scent's rising and it's blowing over them. You know, there's just a lot of different factors we look for. But like I said, mainly this video here, I want to do more look for transitions. Because especially, you know, get a lot of guys say, man, I want to hunt this area right here, and it's a big block. Big block's fine. But here's where I look at a big block. I always pick me a spot and I make it a small block. Because I'm not trying to scout the whole thing. I'm just trying to scout this little corner or something right here. That's what I look for. You know, especially if you go with a group of guys, you got to go, especially going out of state, you got to find bigger blocks where there's enough ground for all of you to hunt. But if you're going by yourself, you don't have to find near as big a block, y'all. So let's go show you another one. That's some big hardwood. next to some pine plantation. There's a lot of these in the south that we call SMCs. So let's go to it. Hi, here's a spot I want to show you that's basically three different stands, three different types of timber stands. Got an SMC here, it's got some big hardwood in it. We got a block that's been cut, it's planted bank pines. It's probably 8-year-old, I think that's how old it is. And we got a block right here, some bigger. This was cut in 94, so that gets it on up, whatever that is. 6, 11, 41. Yeah, well, I can't even do the math right. It'd be 25 plus 94, be 6 more. So it's 31 years old. I don't know. But I want to show you the difference. See how that sunlight and burnt that stand there too. So it's opener more than some stands are. That's that old. As you can see, look down through that big pretty hardwood down there. You know, I've hunted this place a bunch. And I've always hunted out of a, you know, a climber, lock on, saddle, you know, saddle now. But I'm gonna show you where I think I can hunt some places here on the ground. Especially, like I said, so I got this thicker block, and a lot of times these deer come from this away. They come out of that thicker stuff. So I could see where I could get, say, that's north. Say if I had wind blowing north, I could get right in the edge of here, catching these deer coming in, because they're cutting the corner of this wind. The wind's out of the south this way. I could go get on the underside, and find a spot to set up. But one thing, what I really like about this leafy suit, man, I can take any of these big trees and just get up against them, or just right out over in there, where these cluster of trees there, just sit down in amongst them right there. Or I can get up in a lot of these trees here with my saddle. So a lot of it's just according. You know, if I'm gonna set it all day, you know, if a spot like this here, if I was gonna set it all day, I'd probably get up in a tree. But if I want to come in here for a quick evening hunt or morning hunt, man, I can bring my pack, my seat, sit down right here. When I get ready to go, throw in the pack right quick and go. You know, there's no doubt the stump set's a lot quicker set to set up and to get out of here. I hadn't set on the ground very long, so I can't really sit here and say I can sit in one spot on the ground all day. Because I know me, I'm probably going to say, man, the wind shift, I'm going to go get right over there. I want to go get right over here. And that is an advantage if the wind does shift. You can move around a lot easier than getting up in a tree and setting. So this is some, you know, like I said, I'm going to do way more of this year, just getting in big hardwoods like this. So there's a lot of places we hunt. I've hunted over the past, got big hardwood bottoms like this here. And I've always just climbed a tree. But man, I can see just a lot of different spots. You know, it's like that little bit of brush right there, that top of that's broke off. Them little bushes right there. How you could just sort of, I think the main thing is just have a little bit of cover above you. You know, here's a perfect spot right here with this little old understory tree. These limbs right here. That's a dogwood there. I just believe you can just sort of sit right under it because you got cover above you. And man, then look, when you're sitting right here, just look what you can see. And I've really changed my shooting up with a bow this time. I practice a lot further out that I'm way more confident shooting 30 and 40 yards. And that's my mindset of being on the ground. I don't want that deer too close. I want him at 30, 40 yards is what I'm trying to set up and get him at. I just think if as long as I can get the shot off, they did not know when I'm there. You know, you got to know what the deer's, you got to think you know what the deer's finna do. And if you got a deer standing out there 40 yards and he's looking at you, you're not gonna hit him in the south. You're not gonna hit him where you're aiming at. But now I've had them come walking through, and you just lead them a little bit on that front shoulder, and they'll never move an ounce. You know, they won't move at all. A lot of times they got their head down. seem like when they got their head down, they move more. Because they got the momentum of their head going up, and that makes them drop. So a lot of that goes with just experience. Shooting a lot of deer over the years, is I know what body language I'm looking for is shooting that distance. But, you know, like I said, go into transition here though, because look, out that way's a real, you can sort of see, I hope you can see the opening in the sky. There's no lake back that way. That's super thick in the back of it. You know, I'm pretty sure I can go get up around the edge of it, just catch the right wind. Like I said, I've killed several deer in this holler over the years with a bow. And the best wind I always had was a northwest blowing this way. And most all of them come from that way. They was coming skirting that wind around the north side of that lake there. Very few have ever had come from the southwest. But that's the way my wind was blowing. They may have hit my scent. I have had a few come from this way. They come out of this thicket here and come across. Even when that was a big pine timber. Well, they cut it a few years ago. So, main thing I'm trying to do is give you ideas. So when you walk into a spot, you're not just looking, hey, where's the perfect tree? Where's the perfect tree to climb? What wind I need? One thing about this ground set, the stump set, it gives you a lot more options of where you can move around. You got a pretty good idea where your deer's coming from, but like, man, I just don't have a good wind to hunt it from this tree here. And if I get over here, it's too thick, I can't see down in it. Where I think hunting from the ground, it's going to give you more options. Like I said, I still love climbing. And we got some new arsenal stuff this year. What we had last year was awesome. And I don't see how you made it better, but they did. And I'll show you that later in another video. But, you know, got some cooler weather coming in here today with a little bit of rain. It won't be long, you know, we're going to be on a tree here, or we're going to be on the ground hunting. Like I said, right now, Daniel, I talked to him this morning. He's in Utah, and he was in a tent. It was raining. He said it's been raining since 5 o'clock, and it was probably about 7 then. He said it's supposed to break later, but that's extreme weather. I about bet you he's allowed to have luck today. I like that extreme weather. You know, it's raining in Utah is extreme weather for this time of year. So, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope there's some tips here that I put in this video that help you in your mindset of where to set up, how to set up, what to look for in these transitions and stuff. Because all the transition is one timber type to another. It could be a cutover to big timber. It could be a 15-year-old stand to a 30-year-old stand. It could be an old field that growed up maybe 50 years ago compared to an old stand that's 100 years old. That transition line is the first thing you want to look for when you go to a new block you've never been on. Is look for that. Or I do. That's one thing I really look for. Is when I find an area that I want to go, I'm looking for transitions when I get in there. So, see you on the next one now.